months. Impeachment, Soyinka backs lawmakers against Buhari. Tinubu's government will be fair to all. That's according to Shetima. And the Nation, I guess, let's see what we've got on the Nation. Some headlines in the Nation. We're talking about CVR now. Lagos, Kano, top registration. And strike. Federal government withholding our salaries since February, says ASU. Bullets from terrorist guns still in my stomach. I took this story earlier. Osun APC Chair Islam Adegbite last loyalist over restructuring protest. That's a big story in the news this morning. There was this protest yesterday in Osun State with a faction loyal to former Governor Adegbite protesting and calling for restructuring within the party, blaming the defeat in a July governorship election to the division in the party right now. That's a big story this morning. Well, Nigerian Tribune right now, Motekun intercept 140 travelers in Ibadan. Okay, that's another big one. It's caught them. We'll look at that particular story. But I think we should just begin with the issue with the released and the freed victim of the Abuja Kaduna train that was attacked in March by terrorists. Well, I'm looking at that particular story, but before I take that, maybe I should just quickly talk about this terror attack. NLC suspends the Lagos, Kano, Ajaokuta train services. All right, well, let's see. From Punch newspaper, the Nigeria Railway Corporation has suspended the Lagos, Kano, and Ajaokuta train services due to fear of terrorist attacks. Multiple sources in the Ministry of Transportation and the NRC confided in one of the nation's correspondents that the train services will not resume until the security along the Lagos-Kano route and the Ajaokuta train station was guaranteed. It was also learned that the NRC suspended services at the Ajaokuta station along Warri-Itakpe route because of the attack on some passengers by gunmen on Monday. It was gathered that the Lagos-Kano train services were suspended because of the high level of insecurity in Niger and Kaduna State, which are the routes of the train heading to Kano from Lagos. So, once again, like to have you on the program. Now, this train services, one will actually describe it as one of the successes of this administration.
Yeah,
reviving the train transportation in Nigeria. All of this now it's under threat. And train services being suspended in all of the routes that I mentioned right now. What does this portend? Does it mean that the government, after the attack, even before the abduction in March, there was an attack? Don't forget. Yeah. I'm not sure if there was any casualties then, but it had to be repaired in a few days.
Yes.
And then there was this big one that some of the victims are still in captivity right now. And now, NRC, good move, yes, good move to avert attacks, of course, to forestall any form of abduction out of this issue. But this is one of the successes, like I said, and it appears that it's not even working right now. So the government, with all of these attacks, have not found any answer to how to stop these attacks even on our tracks.
Unfortunately, Joshua, in as much as the government has failed to secure the lives and property of the people, you can't talk about success. Yeah, we may say the government has tried in the area of infrastructure over the past 7 years, but you build rail tracks, you import light trains to work on these tracks from state to state, and unfortunately you can't even put in place adequate security to secure these facilities and the people. Then to what extent can we say you are successful in doing that? So I feel forestalling or trying to suspend train attacks is not the way to go. I don't see it as a good move. I think the government needs to do more to protect these things, because for how long? Don't forget there have been attacks on airports in Kaduna. There have been threats in different parts of the country. To travel by road is danger. To travel along the waterways too is dangerous. So, do we now continue to suspend all of these aids that are meant to, help us to transport ourselves from one place to another and our goods and services? So, I feel the government needs to do more to secure these things and not to continue to suspend activities. See, in Nasarawa, schools have been shut. In Abuja as well, schools have been shut. Does it mean we have to keep our students at home, not because of strike, but because government has not been able to put in place enough facilities, enough personnel on ground and equipment to secure these places? So imagine a place like UK where you can be living in Liverpool and working in Manchester, and you would go there on a daily basis without fail for many years. This is what I think the country needs to look towards, and not to continue to suspend our daily routines because of this bandits and miscreant that we have in the country.
This will definitely affect some sectors of our.
It's going to affect trade. It's going to affect people moving from one place to another. So yeah, it's good because we are going to be able to secure some persons, but that is not the final end.
All right, Abuja Kaduna train service will resume after all abducted passengers are rescued. Who knows when that will happen? The federal government has disclosed that the Abuja Kaduna train service will resume commercial activities when all the passengers who were abducted by bandits following an attack on the train about 4 months ago have been rescued and reunited with their families. Speaking on Tuesday while inspecting the railway facility at Idu, Abuja, the Minister of Transportation, Engineer Muazu Sambo, stated that it is very important to get those Nigerians that have been kidnapped reunited with their families before the train service will resume. Okay, interesting there, but even those who would want to take that route, I'm talking to the passengers will think twice.
Unfortunately, there were accusations against the former transport minister, Rotimi Amechi, that there were facilities he ought to have procured in order to secure these trains. Unfortunately, up till now, we don't even know whether or not the government has been able to procure these facilities. And this is what I continue to say, that we need to put these things in place. Is it a prison or our custodial facilities where you don't have enough equipment to signal that there might be an attack? So, look, going forward, we can't just continue to, quickly suspend some activities or put on hold some activities. We need to put in place the facilities so that we can have a seamless operation of government.
Well, I think we got news yesterday that 5 of the hostages were released yesterday, but there's still some more that have not been released, and the federal government is saying that it is until they are released that train commercial activities will resume on that route. But one of them that was just released, I guess maybe it's one of them or one of those that have been released earlier, talked about the fact that the bullets that he was shot then is still in him.
Yeah, in fact,
somebody was shot, he was abducted, he didn't have opportunity to be treated, to be taken to. This is very sad.
I listened to one of the people who were released, 5 of them. Is a medical doctor in Usman Dan Fodio University, Sokoto. And in his account, he said the most dangerous part of being in the forest is that you don't have access to medical care. He said it was the medical doctor that was attending to them while in the camp. And something as small as malaria, you don't have drugs, you don't have any treatment to give to the people suffering from these things. Okay, the person that was shot, according to his account, he was shot while the bandits were just exchanging gunfire within the forest, and it was it. And ever since, nothing has been done.
It was within the forest.
It was within the forest, according to him. So these are issues the government needs to, look into. It's not about resuming train on that route, but what is the government doing to get the remaining people, the remaining victims out? Because those who have been released will tell you that their relations had to raise money. And not the government.
Bullets from terrorist guns still in my stomach. 5 train attack hostages freed. That's on The Nation. Mukhtar Shoaib, one of the 5 hostages freed yesterday by terrorists that attacked the Kaduna-bound train in March this year, has narrated the pains he passed through when the doctor battled to extract a bullet from his stomach. Shoaib said his bullet lodged in his stomach when one of the terrorists accidentally shot him after his noon prayer on the 85th day of their captivity. According to the terrorist, the doctor inserted a finger and scissors into his stomach in search of the bullet. Well, a sad one there, but right now that he's been released, yes, we are hoping that he will
get the medical aid.
Exactly, needed medical care. Insecurity, Buhari is a failure. That's coming from Shoyinka takes stand on impeachment plot. Let's take that story quickly from Daily Post newspaper from Nobel laureate Professor Wole Shoyinka. Insecurity, Buhari is a failure. Shoyinka takes stand on impeachment plot. Nigerian Nobel laureate Professor Wole Shoyinka on Tuesday backed the 6 weeks ultimatum given to the president, Muhammadu Buhari, by some federal lawmakers to find a solution to terrorism or be impeached. Shoyinka spoke in Abeokuta, Ogun State during an interactive session organized to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Abeokuta Club. He condemned the situation in Nigeria where a failure who has occupied a seat of government for 8 years will give us another failure for another 8 years. The session, which had a senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, the registrar of the Joint Administration and Matriculation Board, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, and others, had as its theme good governance and misgovernance, the contract called democracy. Well, before Shoyinka, let's look at what President Muhammadu Buhari himself is saying. From that same Daily Post, terror attacks with ordered security agencies to end this madness. President Muhammadu Buhari has consoled Nigerians who lost their loved ones in the recent terrorist attacks. Terrorists in the last week attacked some communities in Sokoto, Kaduna, and Plateau states. The president reviewed the situation yesterday. According to spokesman Garba Shehu, Buhari assures full support from the federal government to the affected states. We have given security forces full freedom to deal with and bring to end this madness. I condemn those barbaric attacks on the country. I wish to assure the states of all possible support from the government of the Federation. My thoughts are with the bereaved families. May the injured recover quickly, said the president. Well, that's coming from the president there. I'm looking at just one more story. Ewa Nigeria has joined us in the studio this morning. Good to have you this morning, Ewa Nigeria.
Great to be here to talk about all these disturbing stories again.
Disturbing stories. Well, now let's get your reaction about this one. Amotekun intercept 140 travelers in Ibadan, escort them to Ogun border. About 140 travelers from Zamfara en route Ogere, Ogun State, loaded in a truck were intercepted at Bodija area of Ibadan by men of Oyo State Amotekun Corps on Tuesday. Some residents around the Bodija market area had notified Amotekun of their suspicion on sighting the truck loaded with bags of onions, beans, potatoes, and motorcycles, with northern travelers comprising men, women, youths, and children stuffed in between. The truck was subsequently moved to the office of Amotekun at Dandari, Ibadan, where the travelers were interrogated, while items in the truck were offloaded and the truck searched. Upon interrogation, the Amotekun office, the driver of the truck, Abuja BWR 143XD Abdullahi Aliyu, said he was conveying the items and travelers to Ogere, Ogun State, and only offloaded some items at Bodija Market. Well, long story there. Here in Nigeria, good to have you in the studio. We've talked about Shoyinka's position on the impeachment threat and calling this President Muhammadu Buhari's administration as a failed one. And then this particular issue, because it has always generated controversies, yes, when we sight travelers in trucks moving on our roads there in this part of the nation. Nigerians are definitely, Southwesterners are definitely agitated.
Yeah.
They're agitated, and sometimes they just say, hey, they have come. I still got a call this morning. But the fact is, some of these people are here for legitimate businesses.
Yes.
So, but
you cannot conclude.
You cannot. I said some of these people
some
are here for not all of them are here, like the ones that you just read right now. So, but because of what has happened and because of the experiences of people, it's there for us to definitely know. It's understandable, but people will be agitated. So how do you, what do you make of these actions by Amotekun in your state, and how would you expect government at all levels in different states to handle this situation? Like I said, none of them are terrorists. We have to. That is definitely the truth of the matter.
Okay, just like I've always advocated, that's the need for communal policing, local policing is very important, because if not, you notice that Amotekun, it's either you hear Amotekun is on top of that matter, or certain vigilante groups, the Nigerian police, the military, they are hardly involved in cases like this, when as a matter of fact they should. And I think that this move by Amotekun is a laudable one. However, it should not, it's okay to get them interrogated. It's okay to also escort them, inspect some of the goods they brought in,
yes,
just to be sure. But let's also make sure that we are profiling them, and also have a system. I doubt if we have a system where we can monitor, right? If you enter, for instance, if you enter the US today, you're on the monitor for years, right? They know where you're staying, their bio data is functioning, their security network is synchronized to bio data, and so when you commit a crime, it pops up, it gives you your data, and then it can easily track you, and then it can say, oh, this one entered just a few months back, and see what's happening. In cases where, especially when it's an ethnic group that is in quote profiled, right? Some cases they monitor them to see where they go, their meetings, because it's not just okay to say that we have searched these people on coming into a community or a state, they are clean, but you also have to be able to be sure that these people are not in any way linked to suspicious movements when they arrive, right? Because things can be sent to them, right? They can harbor other people. They can harbor other visitors who might even not be tracked or be visible to members of the community. So their activities should always it should not end when they are profiled and then they are escorted and then they are integrated into that new community. They also should be monitored for a reasonable amount of time to ensure that these people do not take wrong moves. This is not the first time we're having a mass exodus of people from the northern region.
Other day.
This is not the first time. I think that when we had insurgents, big issue, I think religious issues, right, in the northern region, I think in the 1998, 1996, we had a lot of people come down to the southwest Nigeria from the north to just stay here. Some of them have internalized here. Some of them have become part of us here. Even Yoruba people or southwestern people in the northern region, they had to return because you had to be, when the war broke out between the northern Muslims and the southwestern Muslims, and a lot of people were killed, some of them had to run back home. But so insurgency is still happening in that region, and so we're experiencing this now. But they need to understand that we also have to be to be sure that this region they are running into, they consider it safe, right? So for us to keep it safe for them to be able to constantly be able to run into and inhabit, then we have to make sure that we subject them to this level of security scrutiny. So I do not expect anyone to be raising an eyebrow that are profiling northerners, and especially when they are coming in. And
I think we got news from the security agencies in the state yesterday. The police in particular talking about monitoring border towns, particularly when you see strangers and people from other region coming in droves and in many numbers. Well, let's move away from security. It's been security for the past 20 minutes or thereabout. Now, strike. Federal government withholding our salaries since February, says ASU. Government side waiting for Adamu's report, says Ngige. Let me move away from that point from the nation and see what Ngige is saying from the Daily Post. We've adopted voluntary conciliation. Ngige gives a fresh update. Chris Ngige, the Minister of Labour and Employment, has revealed the voluntary conciliation was adopted to ensure a quick resolution of the ongoing strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUM. Ngige disclosed this on Tuesday at a 3-day capacity building workshop on international labour standards and dispute resolution in Nigeria. In Abuja, the workshop is organized by the Industrial Arbitration Panel. Well, Ngige said the voluntary conciliation was adopted instead of arbitration so as not to delay the resolution process with the striking lecturers. So, how are you doing? now Nigerians, as when the lecturers, was it day before yesterday? Yes, which was on Monday.
They rolled over the strike.
Yeah, some Nigerians were saying, even some parents said we don't even understand again. No. But it was quickly noted that these people have not even been paid for the past 5 months. So now there are many issues on the table. There are all of the agreements, their demands have not been met. You are owing them again. So it's clear, it's crystal clear. Why it might be a bit difficult for them to actually call off this strike now, suspend, unless something concrete is done. But talk about the conciliation, that voluntary conciliation that Chris is talking about.
Well, when the whole crisis started, I mean the union matter in the universities, the government felt if we deny them their pay for 2 or 3 months, they are going to resume. Unfortunately, ASU is hellbent and looks as if the lecturers can cope. And so they've not been getting their pays for the past 5 months. And they are still coping and insisting that they are not going to call off the strike unless the government does something. Now, I think it's left to the government, because when you see the people you are dealing with who are determined, who are resolute, who are highly spirited and are insisting on not backing down in spite of the suffering you're putting them through in terms of non-payment of salary, then the government should just give in, even if you can't attend to all of the issues. I think the most germane one now is IPPIS, because it is that which they are even going to get their pays. They are insisting that you can't continue to pay us with IPPIS. So even if the government can accede to this one and possibly review the 2009 agreement and make some conciliations, some concessions to ASU, maybe ASU would begin to show good faith. But unfortunately, I doubt if the federal government is looking in that direction. So I think it is the government who needs to back down. ASU is determined. They are not. They don't care whether or not you pay their salaries.
Okay, well, strike. Students cry out, fear missing law school. UK licenses 266 Nigerian doctors in 2 months. That's the brain drain we're talking about. Well, Nigeria, let me get your reaction to this ongoing ASU strike, and about the fact that they've not been paid since February, and the moves by the government to reconcile and to ensure that they nip this in the bud.
Well, I think that it is noble to know that they have not been paid. So these lecturers are not, or this union is not fighting while their bellies are full. Right, and when you fight with an hungry man, you definitely know what you are, battling with. And I think that the federal government first has to come. One of the diplomatic moves that the federal government needs to make is to first admit that these people will not back down if they, continue to keep stretching matters. So, can we find a way where we can supplement, collect their salaries? Let's put smiles on their faces, right? I know there is a no work, no pay law in effect, but then can we review that? And then when they come back to the discussion table, right, they will come with smiling faces. That's a good way to start, right? And so when they come with smiling faces and filled tummies, then we can now appeal to their sensibilities, right? We cannot continue to take this what's it called, this approach, this kind of draconian approach, and expect that people will break. It's not just one person. It's not just an institution of 5 bodies. This is an institution that has different chapters all over Nigeria. So the federal government, the onus is on the federal government to be humane, show their humane side, call them to order. I mean, diplomacy will definitely sort this out shorter than we expect.
All right, well, time fast spent. We need to pick some calls. This one coming from AKT. From Nigerian Tribune, Fahimi grants autonomy to state's internal revenue service. This is one story that you must definitely hear. The state government of the Fahimi has granted autonomy to the state internal revenue service for more effective and efficient revenue generating drive. Speaking at the opening ceremony of a week induction program organized for its 200 new staff in Ado-Ekiti, the chairman of the Ekiti State Internal Revenue Service, Muyiwa Ogumilade, said the autonomy as granted by the governor, will further fortify the revenue generating body to operate independently and rake in funds into the state coffers. Well, let me pick some calls right now. 08167814132, and if you can't reach us through that, 0915 388 6590 is another line. And we also have 0811 8002723. Our time is fast spent. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure that can be if calls can be taken right now, but well, if you're watching us on Facebook, right, well, if you drop your comment right now, we may come back later to actually pick it. That's when we have the other programs. Well, guys, thank you very much for being here today. I appreciate you. And anyone in Nigeria, thank you very much for your perspective. So, well, that's it. We'll take a break right now on the show. Well, because, well, of course, bottom line, it's coming your way anytime from now. My name is Joshua Adegbite. Do stay with us and have a great day.